with that, we bring in the outstanding Rob Biertempfel from The Athletic. It's always great to have you with us, Rob.
Dude, I'm wearing a pair of 2015 K Swiss that I use when I mow the lawn because there's a big chunk on the back of them and they're grass stained. I will sell them to you for $2.
I just finished my lawn this morning, so there's no need for me to go in that direction.
Well, if you want them, I'll autograph them for you because, you know, I'm in the Hall of Fame now. So I'll do that for you. That
is true. You are a Hall of Famer.
Well, not me, actually, just my scorecard from Sunday's game. I got an email the other day that the Hall was nice enough to ask for my scorecard from the no-hitter.
Yes.
That wasn't really a no-hitter.
Right.
Kind of a no-hitter, sort of no-hits for Howie.
It's the sixth one of those ever. Somebody said, how can you believe the Pirates are involved? I said the Red Sox were involved in one. Chris Young did it against the Indians and no-hitter and lost the game. Hey, now, my point on that, and I talked about this yesterday, is I want to give the three Pirate pitchers that got no publicity credit because they tossed a 4-hit shutout.
Yeah. Yeah, Quintana was really good
in
that game on Sunday. And but that's why when people ask me, and I get this question a lot from people, and it's usually asked in a heavy voice with a lot of sighing, why should I go to a Pirates game like that?
Yeah.
And I say that because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
It may not be a happy thing. It may not be a win necessarily, but it could be historic in some bizarre way.
Right.
And there you had it. So that's why you go. I've seen a lot of stuff in a quarter century or so of maybe more than that, I guess 28 years of covering ball. I've seen an unassisted triple play. I've seen a couple of no-hitters. I've seen a ton of one-hitters and shutouts and all kinds of goofy crap. And there was that thing last year with Javier Baez and at first base. And I've seen a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But that one Sunday was right up there. That was pretty cool.
What is more interesting to you right now, the Pirates or the Altoona Curve?
The Altoona Curve.
Right. I think that's a fair question. I think it's a fair answer. What's the Curve attendance like right now?
I was up there last week for Henry Davis night, his debut. I want to say they had about $5,000.
Not bad.
It's kind of hard because, you know, you live there. You know central Pennsylvania weather in the spring.
Yeah.
And it's not predictable, nor is it always easy to tolerate.
Right.
But I think when things heat up a little bit, and I know that there's a lot of people who live out this way in Pittsburgh who have told me that, you know, they're waiting for it to get a little bit warmer, a little bit sunnier, and they're going to make the pilgrimage out there. It's, a 90-minute drive from here. I love the ballpark.
Yeah.
I love the atmosphere around there. Jock Moses does a great job running the press box and dealing with us media scribes, and Madison is a really friendly kind of skipper, fun to talk to, and there's just so much talent on that roster. Now I'm curious to see. They haven't said what's up with Majinski. I know he has a shoulder right now, and
right.
He had a shoulder last year, and that shoulder. People think that Tommy John surgery is bad for a pitcher, and it is. Don't get me wrong; it's not like it's. But I've had a lot of guys tell me that the shoulder is like a nuclear bomb because there's so many moving parts and there's so many things that can go wrong in so many ways that even when you're good, you're healthy, it can still screw up your delivery forever.
Well, all you have to do is watch a video of a pitcher in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the torque it takes and that it can make a shoulder a mess.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's all you have to do is see. When you've talked with the people there, I'm talking about the baseball people, is this talent that they have in Altoona what they hoped it would be, or is there some okay, he's not quite what I thought it would be, but this guy is?
Yeah, I guess a little bit of both, and I know that's kind of a wishy-washy
No,
answer.
but that's the answer I expected.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Priester yet because he's been hurt.
Right.
And that's, it's been, we're, a month and a half into the season, and now it's starting to become more of a thing. I mean, last I heard, when I was down out there on Tuesday last night, he was down in Bradenton working out of Pirate City, away from prying eyes like mine. And, Majinski being hurt, okay. Burrows, I think Mike Burrows has been better than a lot of fans expected, because he wasn't a sexy draft pick. He's not a guy you hear a ton about.
Right.
But he's just quietly, consistently pretty darn good. And he's one of those guys who I think, kind of works his way up the system, gets in a big league situation, and then sticks around for 10 years in one way or another. And at the end of it, you say, the guy kind of came out of nowhere, but did pretty well. So I'm curious to see where it all ends up with Mike Burrows.
Yeah.
It's also hard to see their pitching staff because of the way they're running it now. I did a story a couple of weeks ago about this new paradigm they're using and I had scouts already telling me last year about it, that they saw it was coming, where starters aren't necessarily starters, and sometimes they're relievers.
Right. They do the piggyback thing, and
Yeah, and the Pirates are spinning it as, hey, we're just spreading things around, and everybody's going to be great. Yeah, but it's also, if you're a really, really good team, a deep team, you don't do that.
Exactly.
You don't have to do it. And the fact that they're doing it already in the minors makes me think that they want to hasten the rebuild. They want to get good again as quickly as they can. And I think they see this as a way to do it, without having a rotation that's just full of horses and monsters.
Yeah, but you know what? But what's interesting about that is the fan doesn't grasp that part. And I don't blame them for not grasping it, because you want to see a guy go out, get the ball, and go out and give you 6 innings, maybe 7. Right? Yeah. And you feel like you're at a baseball game instead of, okay, well, he threw his 42 pitches, he's done. He's done, right? And the Pirates have been one of those organizations that has done that over and over and over again. And I'm telling you, I don't think it works. I don't think it works. Yeah. Because I watched it firsthand here. It's the same philosophy I saw here in State College, Rob. And I'm telling you, the guys I watched didn't make the majors.
Yeah. I think some of that, eventually, talent gets you the majors one way or the other, but also when you're put in that role, whether, even in high A, low A, you start to think, of yourself, I'm not really a guy that can do that. They must not think that.
Right.
And then you start to settle for less. And, you don't want a whole farm system of guys who are willing to sell. Now, I've talked with a bunch of guys at different levels of the organization, players, scouts. People are saying the right things, obviously, in public. Hey, we're going to give this a go. We're going to make this work, blah, blah. But I also sense a lot of hesitancy, we're really doing this? I'm a starting pitcher. Let me just start the freaking game and pitch.
Yes, exactly. Right.
And,
I think it's important that you start defining what roles are early. And then if you need to adapt later, and I'll give you one at the major league level, I think the Red Sox should make Chris Sale a closer. I mean, that's just me. But I think they need to understand. Players need to understand defined roles and routine.
Yeah,
and that seems to be lost sometimes in some minor league systems.
Yeah, and it's because some of it. Pitchers really are creatures of habit. Starters like being on a routine. They like knowing today I do this workout, tomorrow I throw my bullpen.
Exactly.
This day I do that, and it's to position players like that. They like to be able to come into the clubhouse and say, today I'm in right field, or I'm going to be batting third, or whatever. Right. But boy, when you don't do that, and the thing that I think we haven't really seen yet. So many of the Pirates players right now are pre-arb. They're still in that 0 to 3 stage where the team controls their paychecks.
Right.
Then when you hit arbitration, if you don't come to terms, you go to hearings. And what gets thrown around in those hearings? A whole lot of numbers.
Yep. And they're not good. They're not good for you. I mean,
How many games did you start? How many games did you finish? How many innings did you throw last year? And some of this now is not in the player's control anymore.
That's right.
And the team is going to make out like bandits.
Yep. And that's all part of it.
So good luck trying to get free agents in a few years.
I've told people that if Altoona is what they think it is, 5 to 6 of those players will be long-term players somewhere in the major leagues on that roster. Is that fair of me to say?
I think Henry Davis will be, although he has work to do defensively. Everybody keeps telling me that it's still, it's his skills are there, but they're really kind of unpolished. But he seems to have the kind of drive and aptitude where he could polish them quickly.
Yeah,
I still think Liover Peguero is going to be the real thing. I think he's going to be what the Pirates need in a lot of ways. He's a spark plug. He can be flashy. He has a personality. He can sell tickets. Nick Gonzalez, I think he can be a consistent, reliable kind of hitter.
Yeah.
I was high on Priester coming into this year. Now the injury, I don't know what to think. We're all waiting to see.
Right.
And I figured at least one of those other pitchers coming out of there, maybe somebody, maybe Majinski, maybe Burrows, maybe, there's a couple other guys who I think have potential. So I think you're right. There's a half dozen guys in that team.
Yeah.
Who could be pieces and not just guys.
Because there are people that think the whole team is going to do it. I'm like, oh no, if you get 5 or 6, you've hit the jackpot.
Oh yeah.
That's the part I think some people, they hear, hey, all those guys came up from Greensboro. I'm like going, guys, 5 to 6 maybe. What's the deal on what they want to do with Cruz in Indianapolis?
We were talking just before the show here about that. It's the Pirates, I think, in their heart of hearts, would like him to be the everyday right fielder I'm looking for. I think that's what his best role would be.
That's fair.
I'm not a scout. I'm not a team official. But boy, they have a really big need out there.
Right.
And he's a guy that runs fast, throws hard, hits the ball a ton when he's on. What's not to like?
Here's a name you and I remember. Bobby Mercer came up and he was a shortstop, and they said, no, he's going to be an outfielder. And he had a long career in the majors. Not a Hall of Fame career, but a long career in the majors as an outfielder.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Well, he's played a little bit, I think, this week. Well, maybe last over the weekend, I want to say, was the first time he had played back-to-back games in the outfield. He is not enamored of moving off of shortstop. He's vocalized that to us, which means he certainly has vocalized that to the management.
Yes.
I can't imagine that going over real well in the front office.
Yeah.
And eventually they're the ones that make these calls. They're going to make these. So maybe they're willing to entertain it for now and let it, we'll see what happens. But eventually, the hammer's going to come down. And he's going to have to accept that one way or the other, whichever way it goes. And maybe they do say, okay, we'll put you at short and you can play every day. And then when Peguero, is ready to come up, some decision has to be made, whether it's somebody goes or somebody switches positions. But it's just, I don't know. I just see that as a potential stumbling block. Is the kid ready to, is he going to listen to what management is saying? Is management right? I think the decision to put him in the outfield would be, but who knows? The kid knows himself best, and it's his career.
Yeah.
But it is at this point, it's just a little bit of something interesting to watch. But I think the longer it goes on, it's going to become more of a high wire act.
Why is the current club a little bit better than people thought they would be?
I
said a little bit better.
All right, I will give you that. Johnny Parado, who's worked in covered ball in Pittsburgh for forever, since like the early 90s, even before that maybe, asked me that the other day. He's like, do you think this club is a little bit better than we thought? And I thought, they played the Nationals, which are a horrific team. Yeah. The Cubs are a bad team. The Reds are a horrifically bad team.
Oh, historically.
Cardinals not a very good team. They're okay. And the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Dodgers, I don't know if you saw any of the games in that series when the Pirates took 2 out of 3. The entire Dodgers team looked to me like they wanted to be anywhere.
They were totally disinterested.
Yeah. I remember there was somebody hit a gap shot toward the notch, and Bellinger just kind of, I'll run after it. I'll get there. There it is somewhere out here along the wall.
Right.
And was it Chavis maybe? It ended up with a triple.
Yeah, Michael Chavis.
I thought, no way that should happen. You should be on that ball.
Yeah.
they just looked like their heads were in a completely different time zone. So, the schedule has helped the Pirates in a lot of ways. But at the same time, those are teams that the Pirates have to beat. A couple of years ago, they wouldn't have beaten us.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
So, I think in that regard, maybe the offense at times has been more opportunistic. But lately, it has not. They haven't been driving in runs with men on base. They haven't been getting guys on base.
I was about to say that they haven't been getting guys on base either.
Yeah. The starting rotation, Quintana is better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is what I expected.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The bullpen, I think the bullpen is exhausted, and it's mid-May, and that should really be keeping Derek Shelton awake at night.
Yeah.
Because when we get to July, oh my. Especially if they start making moves and trade Bednar or whatever. It's so maybe a little bit better record because they've taken advantage of a few situations. But if I'm looking there for signs of people ask me before, is this feel like 2012 to you? No, it does not.
No,
it doesn't. It feels maybe like 09.
Yeah,
2010, where you're like maybe someday, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
So, it could be. Lord knows, it could be a lot worse. They could, look at what's happened in Cincinnati. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No.
What a dumpster fire. So, yay, some good signs.
Always a pleasure, my friend. We will talk again shortly. And I know we talked more. For some odd reason, we talk more about Altoona than Pittsburgh.
I'm never wrong with that. Altoona's a fine town.
Yes, it is a fine town.
So, hey, I would be remiss again every time I talk to you. I have to give a shout out to somebody in Center County.
Oh, please.
The fine nurses and doctors at Mount Nittany Medical Center for taking care of my little girl. When unfortunately we missed graduation for that, but they got her back up on her feet, and so thank you to all the folks in the hospital.
The great people there, great professionals who care.
Yes, indeed.
Rob, thank you, and I'm glad she's doing better.
Oh yeah, doing well. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.